I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is FTB Skies 2. Now, don't forget, today is World Download Day. It is episode 10. Every 10 episodes, I do publish the world downloads for those of you who choose to support this content in a financial way, whether it is on Twitch, on Patreon, over on the Discord here as a YouTube member. You guys are honestly the best. And be sure to link everything up on the Discord. Get your world download in the world downloads channel and or all prior world downloads from any series that I've done. And again, thank you guys so much for supporting. Now let's get on with the video. And I tell you, nothing feels better than to hop into your skyblock world and know exactly what you have planned to do. I have a pretty large plan and hopes to be able to actually get it done today. And this is going to involve diving heavily into mystical agriculture and also a little bit of applied energistics. Well, we've already technically done that part, kind of, but we are going to need to expand our island because mystical agriculture, a plant-based resource generation mod, is really going to push the amount of space needed. It takes a lot of space and it takes a little bit of time to get going. I tell you, once it gets going, oh, it really makes a difference. And I'm gonna need it if I want to expand and continue building my base, because I want to use a lot of brick in this build. And to be able to get brick, I mean, the easiest way to obtain it is by far, it has to be by using mystical agriculture. Now, the concept for today is simple, and we did it last episode. I kind of showed off what we're going to be working on, but we need to use a little bit of red fertilizer, and then we use ourselves a growth accelerator, and then up top we get that charge, and we can wrap the entire crop here with growth accelerators. And this accelerates the crops from mystical agriculture pretty quickly. And our first major crop being, well, the Inferium seeds. And now there are a ton of ways to technically accelerate your mystical agriculture crops, but I've got to say, using that red fertilizer is probably one of the simplest ways to do it. You just need to get every single plot covered with the red fertilizer and then use the accelerators in kind of a grid pattern. And I tell you, this produces quite quickly. And we are going to end up using like a harvester pylon to kind of harvest this. Now, I did significant testing in several other mod packs in the past, like when this update came out, because we did encounter new sort of restrictions with mystical agriculture. And a lot of mod packs made, well, lily pads a whole lot more expensive because that would have been the way that we would have done it. And even in this pack, you can get yourself lily pads of fertility, and you can still use this to technically grow your crops. It's going to cost you a little bit, and you're probably going to want to spend it on this because to be able to make the lily pads, well, yeah, you're going to need quite a bit of essence, and you're going to need fertile essence. This takes a while to get. And to make the lily pads viable, I mean, you essentially need an entire 9x9 of lily pads underneath your farms in order to make it go really, really quick. So this is going to get the job done. We've got to use, I think, a harvester pylon at first to get this up and running. And I want to get a couple of these going. It'd be really nice if I could also make the seeds for the Certus, because then we don't have to worry about this hassle anymore. And it'll allow us to technically craft even more of those accelerators. I mean, these growth accelerators are so good. I mean, and some might say borderline broken, but those people aren't any fun. So now to start making space for this. So what I have done is I've left a 3-block gap from the center point, which does give me a lot of space to kind of work with. And I'm designing this as such. So I know that my crops are going to be 9x9s. So we have 3 blocks out, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then right here means that is enough space for a crop. Then I have 1, 2, 3 wide gap just to make sure I separate my farms. And then we have another 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 wide gap. And then out here, we have another 3-block space, which means I do need a block out here. And this is where I start to measure the crops again. So what I want in this building is I want a 3-block gap here, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a 9-block gap here, and then we're going to go 5 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to repeat that same area over there where we have a 3-block gap. Or sorry, our farm is going to go right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this kind of lets you understand how this is going through my head. And then another 3-block gap. And then we need to make sure we add one more block, keeping the spacing, and then we just continue on. So this is how big the outer wall areas are going to be from the center point. And this is going to be like these interesting greenhouse, like factory style buildings. But with this, I mean, we have room for a lot of these mystical agriculture farms, or really anything if we want. But the main thing I want in here are 2 plots of farms, and then 2 plots of farms, and then the same thing on the other side, and then the same on this. I mean, that's going to give us a lot of farming space. Now, something that could help me with this area, probably the building gadgets mod. And more specifically for building this out, we can use the copy paste gadget. And such a nice tool. We can take this, right click this corner here, or actually, you know what? Let's right click the center of this area. That way we have the anchor point, and that would be right here. And then we got to make sure we extend this out into the center, and then we can shift right click, or actually we need to shift right click on this corner right here. So shift right click on this corner, and that selects the whole area. And we've already got this copied. Now we just need to put it into paste mode, and it's only going to paste the blocks that we actively have in our inventory. But it does base the anchor point off of the first position, so you can kind of see the highlighted area. And then I need to flip this, and I forget, is there an actual flip mode? Ooh, there may not. There is a rotate mode, but that's actually not what I need. Well, it looks like it's a job for the schematicannon then. Yeah, if I can't do it with the building gadget, schematicannon, I know I can do it with. So I will select this corner, and we need to go all the way out to this corner here. And we just need to make sure that this goes all the way down into that position. You hold down Control, by the way, to adjust. And so you just look at the sections that you want. Hold down Control and scroll wheel, and that will actually define that area for you. And there we go. Perfect. We can temporarily save this and call this like outer wall, because we can always delete this schematic later, and then we'll just build a new schematic. There's the schematic automatically in the schematic table. We build that, and then we just click here, and we can do the same thing. We hold down Control and scroll wheel, and that will allow us to push this out into position. And if we hold down Alt, it pulls up another sub menu where we can raise and lower. I want to actually lower this, but this one does have a mirror, which is what we want. We want to actually mirror the section, and we want to nudge it all the way over here. So let's go back to the move, and we'll just nudge this into position here. And perfect. Okay. And then there's a couple of modes on the schematicannon that we do have to worry about, but we've got to get this pulled right there, and bam. Look at that. We have an exact mirror of what we need. So now that that is defined, we just put that in here, and we need to get a barrel so we can throw some of these industrial iron blocks in there. And then just make sure you have replace solid with any. Don't set it to replace solid with empty, because that will actually void empty space. And we don't want that happening right now. So I would prefer to keep my blocks intact. So now that that is ready to go, we can go ahead and hit play after we give it some gunpowder, right? Gunpowder. Beautiful. All right, so there's our gunpowder. Hit play, and you're going to notice it is pretty slow. Now, if you're playing in a single player world, you can speed this up quite a bit. And to do this, you go into the settings here for create, which is the button in the top left. And then you go underneath gameplay settings, and I believe it is under infrastructure. No, schematics. There we go. Then schematicannon. And then you see where it says schematic delay. Just set that to 1, and that way it'll perform every tick instead of every 10 ticks. And just make sure you hit save, confirm, and you're ready to go. And you'll notice this is going to speed that up. So yes, I mean, this is to prevent lag on servers, but at the end of the day, I mean, honestly, it's worth doing, especially since it is almost instant whenever you click with the building gadget. Then the nice part is we can also use the schematicannon here. So let's see, let's select the bottom area of this, and then we'll just select the whole thing, and then we can just simply put it on the other side now. Or better yet, I mean, because this is simply just a rotation, like this is where we could use the building gadget. Tell you though, a neat little trick you can do if you are using the building gadgets, because sometimes it can be hard to line things up, is place yourself a nice bright block in the center of your thing you're copying. Makes it a lot easier. You can see this whole area is now selected, And if I go into paste mode, we're going to have to rotate this twice. And you'll notice that my anchor is all the way on the side. So I want to position this as close as I can over here and then hit the anchor button. And you can see now I have a nice indicator of where my center point is. And then I can go into my adjustments and I can actually line that up exactly where I want it. For example, we need to go one back to get that lined up and then one down. And now we're exactly where we need to be. And I just have to have the blocks in my inventory. So with the blocks in my hand, I can right click and you can just see how fast this also is. So it just, I mean, the justification for that being so slow is just not there. Now, after getting this whole section in, I am going to use my construction sticks and kind of mix and match some mud and deep slate by using that random feature, which is really, really handy, by the way. And there we go. So we have a nice mixture, another layer underneath, and I'm slowly building up all of the mud. Like the mud builds up pretty quick, but deep slate is still pretty slow, unfortunately. But I mean, I don't need a whole lot of it, just enough to turn it into the bricks, because I think the deep slate bricks mix really, really well with this mud. And then like combined in like every now and then, oh, it looks really good. And then later on, as we get more resources, I think adding in some dirt and fleshing it out, kind of mixing it into this island will be a good idea. Now, there's a couple of options for extending stuff like this out. For example, I mean, we could always use the construction sticks, but I don't know. The building gadget's still one of my favorite ways to extend stuff like this. But I think mainly it's because of how satisfying it is. Like you just shift right click for the item. You can keep some of the blocks inside of your backpack and it pulls from that. And you just set it to build to me. And I mean, it's just so satisfying. Like, how could you not like that? Now, as I was working on the dirt stuff, I almost forgot. Yeah, I need to make a mega torch. This will prevent mobs from spawning in the area. And because I don't have all of this lit up, I mean, I've essentially just generated a giant mob spawning platform. Yeah, I don't want that. Good news is, if we use something like, I don't know, Dreadful Dirt, that actually doesn't prevent those mobs from spawning. It's only the ones that generate naturally. Now, the platforms are almost in and ready to go. I'm just going to figure out, do I want these raised up one or do I want them lowered down one? And I think I want this to be raised up. Now, I do want this whole section to be moved over one. And I'm noticing these middle areas here are probably going to have to go in order to do this. But yes, I'm trying my best to center this in a way where I keep the outer border like this, and that way we can wrap this around the center. But it is going to take about 60 growth accelerators to do a 9x9 crop, which essentially turns a 9x9 crop into an 11x11. Just now realizing that. So yeah, I got this moved. This is going to fit perfect here, which means it'll be mirrored on the other side. And I've got to get all of my blocks that I broke placed back in. Go ahead and get that place back, but this is how it's going to look, and I'm still thinking this needs to be raised up one. Now, setting this to 60 is going to tell me that I am missing a few Certus dust, and we're also missing quite a bit of the Fluix. I'm working on that. It is going to take a little bit of time to get this all up and running, but with that Certus here, let's see, we're also going to need to probably double this amount because we need it as well for the things that's going to power it indefinitely. And don't get me wrong, I did see you guys' comments about wireless charging with the Just Dire things, but I mean, you can't beat free power. So I managed to raise this up one, and here we go. So we need to place in the harvester pylon, set this to a 9x9. And we can actually waterlog this spot right here. And it's honestly quite nice that the harvester can be waterlogged. However, looks like we have to water the area first, then place the harvester in it. Beautiful. We're going to have to till all of these areas. But what I want to do is I want to start my growth accelerators and build them out. And I like to hide the fact that we have the resonators on them. So to be able to do this, I've got to get crouched down in here. I don't think there's a keybind to just instantly crouch. But let's see, can I rotate this with the create wrench, I wonder? Yes, we can. Okay, so we have this in, we have that in place, and we can use something like the copy paste gadget to just paste them all in. That's one of the things I really like about this. We just need to make sure we are out of anchor mode, clear all of the settings that we had on it, and then copy, right click, shift right click, and we have it ready to go. So when we're in paste mode, I can clear all of this out. And now I can just go in and go boop, just place them all in, just like so. You know, I'm sure it's at this point you're like, wow, that is very bright, because the AE textures, in my opinion, the brand new ones, are incredibly bright. It is like stepping into a web page and it being light mode and just getting smacked in the face after being on Discord all day. This right here, I do want to change. And thankfully, there is a resource pack that makes AE's textures, in my opinion, a lot better on the eyes. And not only that, it is going to fit the theme of the builds that I'm going with a whole lot better. And that resource pack is called AE2 Blackout. You can find it on CurseForge. You just simply need to add it to the pack and then let it reload. And in my opinion, these textures just look so much more like many of the other mods we are going to be playing with. It just makes them much darker, more metal looking, which I really like, and also fits great with all the create stuff we're working on. Now I've got to get a bunch of red fertilizer, so I process up some roses. Thankfully we had roses on our island, so I was able to just bone meal a whole bunch and then put it in the grindstone to maximize my red dye output. And now I just need to hoe all of this. And it looks like, yeah, we can use Ore Excavator to do that. How nice. And then I just got to get all of the red fertilizer. And I tell you what, this is one heck of a farm when it's up and running. Like, I almost feel like this is a mystical agriculture modded Minecraft meta at the moment. Like, ever since, like even before, like all the mods 10 came out, like, I mean, this is definitely the meta. Like, I remember playing around with this when FTB Evolutions like first came out, and I mean this was definitely before all the mods 10, the whole playthrough there. I was streaming it over on Twitch, and we were playing around with methods of actually accelerating mystical agriculture, and I just happened to stumble upon the ability to do this, and we tested so many different operations. But I was like, man, lily pads work so fast with red fertilizer. I was like, combining it with the accelerators, maybe that would work too. And then I was like, yep, this feels broken, but I love it. And thus it has led me to this design, which honestly is so easy to set up. Now, I think your only limitation at the moment with this farm is it's going to require hoes that have to be manually placed inside. And we also need an inventory that needs to go up here, but that's not that big of an issue. We have an inventory that's going to be pretty easy to solve, but it's these hoes. Eventually they are going to run out and we are going to need to access them. And it can be kind of hard to get down in here to access them. I mean, of course, we could easily just pop one of these off temporarily and then we can access it. But one of these days, we probably want to switch this over to be unbreakable. But that's going to require us to get to Supremium in order to make an unbreakable hoe. Unless there is something in here that could be unbreakable. I know the dyer's tools, they require power, could potentially be unbreakable. But for right now, I'm just going to put all diamond hoes in here and just let those run out of durability. Yeah, we'll just live with that for now. I mean, honestly, those hoes are going to last us so long, we'll probably have enough essence to be able to make Supremium. And speaking of essence, there's only 2 more things left to do. Place the seed down and also make sure there's sufficient light. I think that's another big problem with this farm, is getting light to the crops. And to get started, I'm going to make as many of the Inferium seeds as I possibly can. I think most of the Inferium has either come from a few mobs or they've come from quests, or from fishing. I think fishing, I definitely got a little bit of this essence. But I think that's it as far as seeds. I have about 8 of them, but I mean, that's going to be more than enough, I think, getting started, because this is going to ramp up very quickly. Like, so quickly, in fact, I want to actually put this stack upgrade in here. And let's just make sure, yes, that it is being harvested. And you can already see the harvester is at work. It is harvesting these. I mean, not the quickest. I think it's because it runs like a loop cycle where it runs through. But I mean, already we're building up Inferium and we only have a few seeds. Also, something I'm noticing, it doesn't seem like it's harvesting in a wider area than a 3x3. Yep, need to set that to a 9x9. I don't know how that got reset. But there we go. Now it's harvesting all of the crops. So now my job is to build all of this up, making sure we get all of these placed in so we can start building up as much Inferium as possible. We have to have one farm at least dedicated to Inferium production. And now while this is being worked on, I think it's time we also set up the Infusion altar and try to semi-automate the Infusion altar. But the altar is very, very simple. Place this down, just follow the guide, placing down all of our other little Infusion pedestals. And once we have this, it's really as simple as input and then output. So we're going to send items into our pedestals, and then this is going to receive an item, and then that item is then going to be processed. So we need to make sure we are sending this a product and then pulling the thing that is finished back out of it. And this can all be done with a mod called Modular Routers, which allows you to send items sort of wirelessly. But could this be done with the pipes mod? 100% it could. Now, I believe this whole thing could technically be automated with literally one modular router, but I like to break this down into individual parts. So right here, we're going to use 4 modular routers to do this. We're going to use one modular router to send like essence specifically to 4 of these individual pedestals. And then we'll use another modular router to send 4 of the other essence. Then we'll use a modular router to pull in the seed or the catalyst that goes in the center. And then we'll use another modular router over here to then take the product and receive it. So at the end of the day, we'll put the 2 things in. This will be the catalyst, and then our product should end up right here. Now, if you never played with the modular router mod, it's pretty cool. Specifically the fact that you can send items, fluids, all kinds of stuff wirelessly. Now, I'm going to be using some of the Cinder MK2 cards. So the Mark II and up can do wireless. The range is something you kind of can modify. It does have a base range of 24 blocks. But you can actually extend that on these up to 34. But you got to go to the Mark III if you want to go even further or cross-dimensional. So that is something. But for right now, these MK2s are just fine. If you want to go a single block next to it, pulling either from or sending on any face of the modular router, you can just use a regular Mark I, which works just fine. Which we might actually use to interact with inventories that we can put on here. But for right now, what I need to do is I need to take a sender. And because it works off of this singular buffer slot here, we want to send to 4 of these individual pedestals. And to do that, because of the way the senders work, we are going to probably need to upgrade these senders into what's called a distributor module. Because by default, this wireless sender, well, it only actually sends to 1 inventory. That's it. The distributor module, on the other hand, is pretty cool because it can do more than just send. It can also pull, which is interesting because it's only made up of senders. But yes, this thing can push and pull, and we are going to need technically 2 of them because I'm also going to use this on the other side. However, this can do up to 8, by the way. Like, you can send up to 8 individual inventories. So beautiful. With these set, all we got to do is shift right click onto the position that we want to send the items. And so I'm just going to go with these 4 for this side, and then I'll come back to these here in a second. But I do want to make sure that I also get these linked because there's a little bit of configuration that probably needs to be done on the inside of these cards. But yes, the modules go here, and the modular router reads from left to right, performing the operations of this slot. Then it's going to work here, then here, then here, then here, then here, in that order, which, by the way, is something to keep in mind, especially if you're trying to do something with them. Yes, it will operate from left to right in that order, and then it just keeps looping this over and over again. And speed upgrades make this looping faster. Now, inside of here is where we can either transfer out or in, and then you can also choose whether or not it's going to be round robin, which is pretty decent. I like the fact that you have round robin options. So transfer out of the router is the mode that we want. We don't have to whitelist anything. Just whatever goes in here is what's going to get sent. And then same on this side, we shouldn't have to configure anything. It should be just ready to go. And as far as sending the actual byproduct or product that we're going to want in here, or catalyst, I guess you could call it, that one is just going to use a regular sender. Well, a sender MK2. This one also gets linked to the inventory, and we just need to place it in here. Oh, I don't need that activator anymore. That was from a prior project. And then over here, we're just going to use a puller upgrade. So we'll shift right click on this, and that is going to pull the product out of here when it's done. But this whole thing still needs one more thing to work to be fully automated, and that is a block of redstone underneath here, or a redstone signal in some capacity. But I honestly just recommend keeping a block of redstone down here. Perfect. So this is all automated and technically ready to go. All I have to do is put the item in the buffer here, put an item here, and then it's going to automatically generate the seeds for me. Speaking of seeds, let's take a look at this. I did put some wheat over here to get this producing some seeds. And oh my goodness, all of that Inferium already. That It didn't take very long. Now, before I start diving into making stuff, for example, like the Fluix crystal and the regular Certus crystal seeds, yeah, we are going to need prosperity seeds. To get these, we have to use the tempered jar. It looks like any seed along with prosperity shards. And to get prosperity shards, we can just sift sand. A little bit of hammering gets all of that done. That's so much sand. And back to this, it looks like the only mesh that works is the gold one. Now, because I don't want anything at the moment other than the prosperity shards, we're going to switch this to block. And let's see, this actually needs to be in allow mode. No, block mode. And then we put that in, and now everything else should be getting voided except for the prosperity shards, right? Yes. Yeah, everything except for that. Now, this is the part where we have to transform our essences and bring them up into different levels. But unfortunately, I can't start processing blocks directly. As much as I would love to do blocks, I can't, unfortunately. So the first thing we should probably do is make it all the way up to the master infusion crystal level, which is typically what I try to do first, which does mean we have to go all the way up to supremium, and we need quite a few prosperity shards, because to be able to upgrade and make these gems in the first place, we need prosperity shards. But it is nice that we don't have to worry about the tiered mystical agriculture stuff that I have messed with in the past that required you to make an infusion crystal for each tier. This one, it looks like we just make the regular infusion crystal, and that's all we have to worry about. Now, I will admit, this leveling up process is probably one of my least favorite things I do with mystical agriculture. Everything else after this, though, is really fun. That's because it's just basically me doing this until all of the durability runs out. And it slowly fades, and then poof, it's gone. Now, it looks out of one crystal's use, moving into the second crystal. I mean, we're able to get 16 Supremium Essence. So essentially per infusion crystal, we get 16 Supremium, which, believe it or not, is more than enough. So I actually overmade the crystals. It looks like I can get to the crystal with only 2 crystals. Because after this, we just need a Supremium gem, and then voila, Master Infusion Crystal. Which is going to make life so much easier because I can now take this. It doesn't take durability. I can compress all of this into blocks, and I can do it now by block. So much faster, so much less clicking. Oh, and it is best to kind of get this all the way up to max, because we can always downcraft from there, where it's a little bit harder to upcraft. Now, even though we've gotten this far, remember, there's still one more thing needed before I can start fully expanding on these farms. And that is an unbreakable hoe, and a Supremium one will get the job done. And it does appear after I make a Supremium hoe, we actually unlock the ability to purchase a Supremium hoe in here, which is it's really good. Honestly, just saves me some crafting time. But getting that first hoe is a upgrade process. You have to start all the way at the bottom, and it is a recursive craft all the way up to Supremium. And it costs a lot of prosperity shards to do this. And that crafting it like this by just making 2 of each of the products, I mean, it's probably the easiest way to just up and craft the whole thing. So I'm just working my way up, and before I know it, I am going to have the Supremium one unlocked. Beautiful. And now we can buy this. Oh, very nice, but it is kind of expensive. But I'm not too worried about that. Notice, by the way, this is already like started to stop. But yeah, we'll put this in here. We can take this hoe out, and now this is unlimited. And that's because all of the Supremium gear is unbreakable. Now with this crop done, I still want to get a few seeds in here. For example, I think it would be a good idea to start farming some of the Fluix and Certus quartz, so that way I can, well, make even more of these and start to expand our mystical agriculture infrastructure. I know it's a lot, but it is well worth it, I tell you what. And so let's put this to use. So our catalyst is going to be our prosperity seed. So I can put that in here, and you'll notice that gets sent over. And then let's say I want to make Certus crystals. I can put that over here. That's going to get distributed. And then I put the tritium inside of here. I think I said that right. I always say that wrong. That's going to get processed, and then as soon as it's done processing, we should receive over here. And now we have ourselves Certus seeds. So yes, this whole process is made very simple. You just place the items in, set back, relax. And if we wanted to make more seeds in the future, like let's say we want to make 15 of the seeds or whatever, or 16 or 64, you just simply put all of the items in the buffer, sit back, go work on something else, come back, and all of your seeds should be done. But here we go. So this right here is fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and just break this one and then break this one. That way we have Certus now being produced and processed, and we're generating the essence for those things, allowing us to just simply make any of the Certus we want. And I think for now, I'm going to place this upgrade in here. That way it can hold like 8,000 in each stack. It holds so much. With all of this essence, oh my goodness, like this is where things get absolutely wild, because just like I did before, we can copy the entire section here. And let's see, we can copy up to this point. I think that'd be fine. And then I do need to raise this. So we can up the Y right here, taking it up one. And this whole area is now copied, and we can just simply take it. And so long as we have some of these items in our inventory, paste it in another area. For example, right over here. So I'll anchor this down. Just make sure that everything looks like it is in place where it needs to go. And it looks like it is, I believe. Everything is in place. Yes, looks correct. And then just simply right click. And there goes everything back the way it was. I'm going to have to place in the dirt and the red fertilizer, but I mean, that's not even the hard part. Oh, and that is one funny thing. Yeah, that is right. I did ask Peppa why things like this revert to the Acacia like version if they do get placed down like that with the building gadgets, and Peppa's response was because Acacia is my favorite wood type. No joke. So yeah, I guess this is now forever an Acacia barrel. Nope, just kidding about it staying Acacia. I mean, we can use the decoration table and we can put the barrel in and quite literally dye it a barrel. I believe. Yeah, we put this in, and it literally changed it into a barrel. We can make it change into anything, barrel included. Now with this side up, I've started to add some grass into the area, also added some grass and kind of replicated it on the other side, just basically waiting to make more of these. That way we can fill it out. Now this is going to be here. There's going to be another one here, and I believe another one here possibly. It all depends. We may not actually need that many. I think we might be fine with having just a total of 8, like 4 on this side and 4 on the other side. But I still have some more things to do. We've got to start getting some seeds in, and those seeds that I really wanted to be able to make clay right in my inventory here. So all of these basic seeds are some that I want to get up and running ASAP. And that's because a lot of these have some really nice mixing uses. So when they're mixed together with each other, they can produce other resources that we're going to need, specifically since we're on a skyblock. And so fire and water essence, along with some stone, dirt, wood, some ice, because we do have the ice, some deep slate, because I want to build with more deep slate. Then we have nature essence, which you gotta have. It's so good. Dye essence, which is fantastic as well. Nether, and then amethyst seeds for right now. The goal is to make nearly most of these seeds as we continue to progress. But for right now, this is going to get the job done. Like, for example, slime seeds, things like that. Anything that requires a mob has its own process that we're going to have to go through. So that is a little bit harder, but these base seeds, very, very nice. And I kind of get to show off how we can automate this whole operation here. And that's by utilizing another module. And we can just set this to the top on the entire stack and just add this to all of our cinders. And what this is going to do is it's going to pull from the inventory that I set the side to, which is directly above. And I can place in some barrels to make this quite easy. And then over here, we want to use the cinder MK1, and this is going to push the items from the buffer into the chest. So yes, we'll put this here. We don't need the activator, and there we go. So now we put our items in here. For example, all of our base essences that aren't going to be based on tier 2, we can put them in order, just like you see here. And then over on this side, we can put our Inferium essence. In this barrel, we can put our seeds, and this is going to get started. And the cool thing is it should go in order. So this all starts tier 2. And then if I follow up with this, then that should literally work from left to right inside of the inventory as well. And it makes getting all of these seeds so much easier. I just kind of have to look in the barrel and look, they're all building up in here. Now, after making some of these seeds, I think I just unlock the random seed bag, which looks like it gives you a chance to get like redstone seeds, coal seeds, I bet this is a very long list. Look at that. There is a chance you could get nether star seeds. Now that I have all of this producing, oh my goodness, this is going to be so nice. I have all of these materials that I can use to make clay, and means I can actually start making some brick because I am producing all of the water and dirt essence. Like, remember, it only takes 2 of those to make 24 clay balls. That really adds up. And then over here, there is one final thing that I would like to do, and that is the advanced compacting upgrade. I would like to convert the Inferium into blocks. So putting that in there literally converts it all into blocks, allowing me to just pull that, and it's going to automatically compress those as we continue on. This is a really nice item. Now, I didn't want to end the episode here without building a little bit of infrastructure. So I do want to paste in the walls that I just started working on. And it is so satisfying watching the walls go in. And I technically also want to wrap the lower section here with some sort of wallage as well, but I don't know if I want the exact same texture. But on top of this is going to be brick. Like I said, these are going to be brick buildings, and it is going to be rather large. Like, this is a large area here, but I have sort of staggered it because I want to also use potentially some dripstone, maybe mud, I still don't know. Or I could just use granite and sort of mix that in, because we do have granite and things like that on infinite supply, thanks to these extractors. These are so nice. And you know, once the brick and granite go in, like, I think this is going to make this pop so much. Like, I do have brick ready to go. I've just been crafting a bit. And yeah, like, we can go ahead and throw a bunch of that together just to kind of show like roughly what it is going to look like. Like, brick goes with this so nicely. I mean, let's not forget dripstone. Like, dripstone actually makes this pop as well. Like, I think this would be a good blend, having some dripstone mixed in with the brick. And because of Create, we actually have different variations of the dripstone. But after outlining everything, I think this is going to have to be it for today's episode. I mean, there is still a lot of work to do, and it takes a tremendous amount of time to get all of this stuff in order. But if you guys are a supporter of any tier, be sure to get your world download. You can, of course, find that in the world downloads channel over on the Discord, no matter if you are a supporter on Twitch, on Patreon, on the Discord itself, or here as a YouTube member. You guys get access to all that fun stuff. So definitely be sure to check that out and, well, play in this world if you want. Or start here, or whatever you want to do with it. Maybe you want to play with your grandma or something. I don't know. But now, if you did enjoy today's video, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a humongous thumbs up. I would definitely appreciate that. And without further ado, it's now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Gabsky. Thank you so much for your amazing support in choosing to support me over on the Discord, by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting this content in one of the best ways possible, and also getting access to the world downloads and all kinds of fun stuff. So definitely be sure to check that out. And guys, I thank you so very much. Look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And as always, thanks for watching.